Should we? So what would happen if I started at the top and killed the Prime Minister?
Well, you'd be guilty of treason, and the party room would choose a new leader, and that person will become Prime Minister.
So what, you kill a politician, they're replaced?
The state parliaments and governors would appoint new senators, a new government would be formed, those people would choose a leader, there'd be a Prime Minister, keeps going.
So I would have to kill everyone in every electorate in the country?
Yeah, except for the dual citizens.
That sounds exhausting. Hi, I'm Corey White, three-time university dropout, ex-foster kid and former methamphetamine addict. I'm full of ideas about how to make Australia a better place. Here's one of them.
Come on now, it's all right with Corey White's roadmap to paradise.
So the open and unpunished slaughter of politicians doesn't seem like a great idea. But is it that surprising people are so frustrated when trust in our government has plummeted? Like a lot of Australians, I think I'm losing faith in our system of government. And I think that's a very, very dangerous thing.
Can I help you?
I just wanted to return the axe. I didn't get any blood on it. I can understand why so many people feel disconnected. It really does seem like the government doesn't listen to us anymore. In the lead up to the Iraq War, most Australians opposed getting involved, and more people protested against the Iraq War than anything else in Australian history. Yet all our politicians said was, "Cool story, bro," and did it anyway. 80% of us want a federal ICAC to look into corruption. But federal police won't do anything unless we maybe leave a brown paper bag on their desk. And the vast majority of us think voluntary euthanasia should be legalised. But if you get cancer and want to die with dignity, you have to put on a horse costume, break your leg, and find a gullible vet.
What's the problem today?
I just seem to hurt my leg. It was after some euthanasia, if that's all right.
Well, only a tiny minority of us think politicians should be gutted like trout. A fair few of us are starting to develop a taste for a strong leader. Some people think philosopher kings should rule society. Plato said that, which was convenient since he was a philosopher. But I don't know about philosophers. They can't even agree on whether anything exists. Other people think monarchies would be great. You know, they can take a longer-term view than politicians. But on the other hand, really into incest. Some people think dictatorships are the answer, right? Dictators, great. You know, dictators have done a lot of great things. Genghis Khan killed so many people. He removed 700 million tons of carbon from the atmosphere. Take that, get up. And the Big Daddy himself, Hitler, who, for all his faults, did kill Hitler. There's something very seductive about the idea of an all-powerful leader who can just do what's best for the country without any need to negotiate or compromise. But if you hate politicians for their corruption and lust for power, imagine it was all concentrated in one person. And suppose you did get a leader who did everything you want. What about the next leader who might have some pretty different ideas? See, the great thing about democracy is it waters down power. Make sure it isn't concentrated in one person, because when that happens, crazy shit goes on. Violence, executions, urges, all the things you want to protect your grandma from. And democracy is shit, let's be honest. It's very, very shit. I don't like having to look at Sam Dastyari's face. But authoritarianism is way shittier. Democracy is like the least shit form of organising society. I think Winston Churchill said that. But something's gone terribly wrong in our democracy when we're starting to yearn for the very authoritarianism that democracy is designed to thwart. And a lot of people blame politicians. I think it goes deeper than that. I think politicians have a pretty hard job, and I know because I used to be one. In year 7, I was a student counsellor.
Thank you. You have elected me because I promised to reduce the price of tomato sauce in the canteen from 40 cents back down to 10 cents. I won't let you down.
But I did let them down. I went to the first school council meeting, and when the teacher running the meeting asked for the first
point of business,
I said,
we should lower the price of sauce back down to 10 cents.
That's not happening. Next.
I became hugely unpopular. People thought I'd lied just to get power. But I kept going to meetings, and power changed me.
Sports days next week. Should we have a blue team instead of a green team?
Here you go, Mr. Councillor.
How about we put the price of sauce up to 50 cents and use the extra money to get some bloody garlic bread?
There was sauce on my hands, and I swear to God I can still smell it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Cheers.
What I took away from my time as a student counsellor was how powerful entrenched interests are, especially when they're catering your events. Some people call for greater transparency around money in politics. The thing is, we already have a cap on donations and a lobbyist register. They haven't made a lick of difference because they only tell us what we already know, like a documentary about how great the Beatles were. Even if they ban donations tomorrow afternoon, political parties would hold fundraisers, these sausage sizzles, and someone in a very nice suit would pay $2 million for a sausage with onions. So is there an antidote? Noam Chomsky is probably the world's greatest public intellectual. I've loved him ever since I was a teenager. I came very close to getting a tattoo of his face on my chest because I'm a saccharine git. In Chomsky's work, he talks repeatedly about how we can maybe improve democracy.
Much of the general population recognizes that the organized institutions do not reflect their concerns and interests and needs. They do not feel that they participate meaningfully in the political system. They do not feel that the media are telling them the truth or even reflect their concerns. They go outside of the organized institutions to act.
Wouldn't you love to just kiss him?
Really meaningful democracy would mean that I play a role in forming those decisions, in creating those positions, that those positions reflect my active, creative participation at it, not just me, but of course everyone. That would be real democracy.
That's not
We're
happening.
very far from that.
It'd be great if we could leave politicians to take care of the boring quotidian stuff while we have a say on the most controversial things. Sort of like they do in Switzerland. You know, the yodeling Toblerone place? So I thought I'd speak to a real-life Swiss person, Anthony.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello, g'day, how are you?
Very good, thanks.
Anthony, would you be able to give us a brief rundown on how politics works in Switzerland?
Well, there's the Popular Initiative, in which any group of 7 members of Swiss society can form a committee, and they then need to collect 100,000 signatures, and then that initiative will be brought before a referendum, and the public will vote on it.
Okay.
And there's also the citizens' ability to put a stop to a new law, in which they need to collect 50,000 signatures in 18 months.
Yep.
That just requires a yes vote for that to be stopped.
Wow, so Swiss people, if they collect enough signatures...
They can change the constitution.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
So I've read that Swiss politicians consult a lot more with the public, basically to head off the cost and hassle of referendums. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in Switzerland, it works amongst a consensus. You know, everyone is, like, they disagree on how to run society, but they understand that the best way to run society, even if they disagree with it, is still to find a solution that is consensual.
So, Anthony, how do Swiss people feel about their country?
They're extremely proud. I mean, I am extremely proud as well, because I think the system is the most direct, democratic and deliberative and participatory system of any modern political structure in the world.
All right, mate, we've all got things going on. Well, thank you so much for the wonderful interview. I really appreciate it, Anthony.
My absolute pleasure.
Cheers. The Swiss people have the highest level of trust in their government in the world, and it all flows from their political system of directly democratic referendums. Imagine how different things would be in Australia if we had this system. Imagine how different politicians' speeches would be.
Things need to change, unless Australians decide not.
Think about what we could achieve if we implemented a Swiss-style system in Australia. Think about what would happen if we converted all opinion polling into legislation. Voluntary euthanasia for the terminally ill? Done. A federal ICAC to keep pollies honest? Sorted. Maintaining Muslim immigration? Yeah, you can forget about that. Changing the date of Australia Day to something less invasion-y? No chance. Treating asylum seekers better? Nah, we're good. So a mixture of the absolutely horrific and the stupendously wonderful, depending on your political views. But at least the government's agenda would reflect the will of the people. Winston Churchill once said that the best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. That's always people's problem with democracy. That a lot of voters are idiots. I mean, anyone can be an idiot. This guy's an idiot, maybe.
Excuse me?
But, you know, I'm an idiot. Up until a few weeks ago, I was pronouncing it quinoa and climate changy. You know, who's to say you're not an idiot? You know, like, you ever notice you always think you're smart and everyone else is an idiot? Well, don't be so sure. And, you know, I think we got to give idiots the vote because, you know, if there's one thing I know about idiots, it's that they get very annoyed at perceived slights, like looking at their girlfriend or taking away their right to vote. So how about this? We borrowed the Swiss model of citizen-initiated, directly democratic referendums. If you can gather 100,000 signatures for your proposal, boom, it goes to a referendum. If a majority of people vote in support of it, then it's a law. And if you don't like a law that's passed, you gather 100,000 signatures and boom, it goes to a referendum. People vote on it. And how much will these biannual blowouts cost us? A little bit, but I think it's a small price to pay to chip away at the apathy and cynicism that have infected our system. I mean, the Swiss have genuine pride and love for their government. Can you imagine someone in Australia genuinely loving our government and not being given a corrective glassing? The whole idea of democracy is that it should be government of the people, by the people, for the people. But increasingly in Australia, we know and we feel that our system has failed to live up to that ideal because of corruption, because of special interests, because party politics requires an idiotic degree of conformity, because there's a flaw in the heart of representative democracy where one politician is supposed to represent tens of thousands of people, which is impossible. But Switzerland offers a hopeful alternative, right? The Swiss government must enact the will of people, or they'll do it themselves through referendums. To me, that's a wonderful antidote, a salve, a way of repairing the cynicism and apathy and broken promises that beset us. And to me, the Swiss vision of democracy is as breathtaking and as vital as democracy was when it first appeared in the world.
Next week, Corey questions how the rich will protect themselves from the angry hordes whose jobs have been stolen by robots. Corey White's Roadmap to Paradise. Next, Tonightly with Tom Ballard.
Should we? So what would happen if I started at the top and killed the Prime Minister?
Well, you'd be guilty of treason, and the party room would choose a new leader, and that person will become Prime Minister.
So what, you kill a politician, they're replaced?
The state parliaments and governors would appoint new senators, a new government would be formed, those people would choose a leader, there'd be a Prime Minister, keeps going.
So I would have to kill everyone in every electorate in the country?
Yeah, except for the dual citizens.
That sounds exhausting. Hi, I'm Corey White, three-time university dropout, ex-foster kid and former methamphetamine addict. I'm full of ideas about how to make Australia a better place. Here's one of them.
Come on now, it's all right with Corey White's Roadmap to Paradise.
So the open and unpunished slaughter of politicians doesn't seem like a great idea. But is it that surprising people are so frustrated when trust in our government has plummeted? Like a lot of Australians, I think I'm losing faith in our system of government. And I think that's a very, very dangerous thing.
Can I help you?
I just wanted to return the axe. I didn't get any blood on it. I can understand why so many people feel disconnected. It really does seem like the government doesn't listen to us anymore. In the lead up to the Iraq War, most Australians opposed getting involved, and more people protested against the Iraq War than anything else in Australian history. Yet all our politicians said was, "Cool story, bro," and did it anyway. 80% of us want a federal ICAC to look into corruption, but federal pollies won't do anything unless we maybe leave a brown paper bag on their desk. And the vast majority of us think voluntary euthanasia should be legalised. But if you get cancer and want to die with dignity, you have to put on a horse costume, break your leg, and find a gullible vet.
What's the problem today?
Oh, I just seem to hurt my leg. It was after some euthanasia, if that's all right.
While only a tiny minority of us think politicians should be